You ever think about the nets, the actual nets, when Steph and KD are shooting at them? Right now on ESPN.com, Baxter Holmes has a piece on Steph and KD's practice habits and the effect they're having on those nets at the Warriors' practice facility. And Baxter joins us now. We don't often think of the wear and tear on the nets. Tell us what these two Warriors do in a typical practice, Baxter, that's creating such stress on the twine.
Well, so they shoot at the goal nearest to the weight room in the Warriors practice facility. On an average day, Steph is making about 250 shots. He's attempting at least 100 three-pointers, and of those he's making anywhere in the mid-80s, even into the 90s. KD is shooting a little bit less, about 200 makes for him, and about 50 of those are three-pointers, all around the arc and inside as well.
So it's just sheer volume what Steph and Kevin Durant are doing to these nets?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the amount of swishes that are going through these nets on a daily basis with these two guys is, in such a short time span, is really impressive. And they have to actually change these nets out on this particular goal where they shoot about every 3 weeks, which is a pretty startling rate when you talk to the folks at Spalding who make the nets.
Yeah, because Spalding, what, they put them through stress tests or something?
Yeah, so they have a machine at their testing facility in Bowling Green, and they can rifle a ball through a net at about 20 miles an hour at different angles, and they've done 10,000 of these cycles, and the net has still held up great. They said it just is a little bit dirty, but it holds up fine. Meanwhile, in Oakland, they're having to replace the net on the goal where Steph and KD are shooting every 3 weeks. And when I mentioned that to the equipment manager for the Warriors, who has to change these nets out, he had one word reaction: wow.
You mentioned the swish. It's a great sound. Yeah, the basketball ripping right through the net. What do people you talk to say about that sound?
Well, it's an iconic sound, and I spoke to Kobe Bryant, who mentioned that a lot of times for shooters, when the ball leaves your hand, it will feel a certain way. It might feel good or bad, left or right, long or short, but you don't really know until it hits the net how your shot is feeling. And he actually referred to it as the answer. And Steve Kerr said when you hit one just right, there's nothing like it. Klay Thompson talked about you can actually hear when you're in the zone. So shooters, a lot of times, they might be aiming for that exact sound to know if they're in the zone, if their shot is on target.
Interesting stuff. Hey, Baxter, of course, in the beginning, there was Dr. Naismith and the peach basket. Tell us about the evolution from that to the modern-day net.
Well, obviously, that had to change. We could just have people going up on a ladder and fetching the ball out of the peach basket. And one of the people who was credited with helping invent the net, playing a part, was Lambert Will, who was a YMCA instructor like Dr. Naismith in upstate New York. And around the time that the basketball was being invented in the late 1800s, he saw a pamphlet, had some ideas about how to improve the game. One of them was the net, an idea that he is credited with help coming up with. Asked his mother, who knitted together 2 drapes, and then the net was allegedly born from there. Although the Basketball Hall of Fame later credited Lambert Will for his contributions in the mid-90s by creating an exhibit. However, they took it down for reasons that still aren't quite clear, and they declined to comment in terms of the specificity of why that is. But the family, the descendants, are still kind of searching for their place and their great-grandfather's place in history. All
right, so a little controversy surrounding the inventor of the modern-day basketball net. The piece up on ESPN.com right now by Baxter Holmes. Baxter, we appreciate it. Thank you. Welcome in. I'm David Lloyd. The Cavs have had a couple days to breathe and gather themselves, get some food and wine, as LeBron said after Game 2. Now it is back to work against the machine that is the Golden State Warriors. And some may have written off the Cavs after these 2 blowout losses. Cleveland's odds to come back and win the series currently at 9-1. But don't count these guys out quite yet. You don't need a long memory to know that. After falling behind 2-0 and 3-1 in last year's finals, the Cavs entered Game 5 with 11-1 odds to win it all. And as we all know, they reeled off the 3 straight en route to ending Cleveland's 52-year title drought. Here's LeBron this morning.
There's no difference. It's the NBA Finals, but it's a playoff game too. I mean, it shouldn't be no urgency from one game to the next. When you're trying to win a series. We prepared well tonight. This morning, and now we gotta, put that into game form and play, 48-minute game.
Hey, bro, what's at the top of the things that have to go right list tonight, priority-wise?
Win.
Sports Center on the road is powered by Ford Escape. Always unstoppable.
Our NBA analyst, PTI's Michael Wilbon, joining us from B-Loft Barbershop in Cleveland. All right, Michael, let's go right to LeBron. Body language, what he says to the media, put it all together. What sense do you have of LeBron's mentality after those two demoralizing losses?
Well, David, first of all, let me say I'm in B-Loft Barbershop. It's been 23 years since I needed to be in a barbershop, but that's another story. Luckily, these guys are putting up with me. And they think I got the wrong hat on because I'm back in Cleveland for the first time since Game 7. I got the right hat. Trust me.
Rocking Northwestern and the Cubs in
They're
Cleveland.
always hospitable in Cleveland. Always hospitable in Cleveland. You know what LeBron's mentality is? I mean, he's got to not just play for himself, because he's done that. He's averaging a triple-double, David, as I'm sure you guys have been over a million times this morning. LeBron has played his usual brilliant self through 2 games. But now, and this is where great players come in, whether you're talking about, Tom Brady, or whether you're talking about, from Russell to Magic to Bird to Jordan to LeBron, Kobe, he has to browbeat if he needs to, either convince his guys, rally his guys, bully his guys, whatever he does. He can't have 4 or 5 guys having no production. And I'm talking about not just J.R. Smith, but Tristan Thompson and Kyle Korver and Darren Williams. These guys are capable players. They're champions, a lot of them. But they've had no production. You can't have a third of your roster missing and ask LeBron to do any more than he's done, because he's already been brilliant. So he's going to have to get them, rally them to be up to not his level, but up to an all-star level, their usual levels tonight.
Michael, the numbers certainly there for LeBron, and as you mentioned, he's just not getting a lot of help. He's matched up at times with Kevin Durant, who has also been brilliant through the first 2 games of these finals. Is Durant playing LeBron to a standoff? Has Durant been better than LeBron in the first 2?
Well, it's more novel because Durant hadn't done this. Durant's been to a final once before, 2012. People forgot about it. They lost that final. It's been 5 years, and Durant, obviously, the move he made was to say, wait a minute, I'm looking at Cleveland, I'm looking at San Antonio, I'm looking at these teams that I want to beat. Who can I hook up with? And so, look, Durant's been great. I mean, the 38-point game, he was the best defender on the floor, including those 5 block shots in Game 2. But again, how many guys in the finals, we made a big deal, as we should have, about Russell Westbrook averaging a triple-double for a season. LeBron's averaging a triple-double in the finals. Oscar maybe did that one year, but I don't know they did that. But LeBron has been so spectacular. I can't say that anybody's been better, even KD. But again, all KD cares about at this point, he's been better in some series and lost those series, including last year, 3-1 lead on Golden State and lost it. So now, what is KD looking at? He's got a team that's playing a lot better than Cleveland's team through 2 games.
I just wanted to take a little exit here on KD and LeBron. KD had this to say, he's obviously taken some heat for joining this super team in Oakland. He says that it was LeBron who paved the way for his move with, of course, the decision back when LeBron joined the Heat. What do you make of him conflating those 2 scenarios?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to say it's entirely new. People used to be traded to complete super teams. I mean, people forget that the Lakers wind up getting, Michael Thompson at one point, or Bob McAdoo at another point. The Celtics, wind up with a high draft pick. Obviously, they work on the court adding Len Bias, but they were in position. They added Bill Walton. People have added great players all the time, but it was through trades. And what LeBron did was exercise his own right and didn't wait for owners to say, we're going to move you. He decided to do that. And obviously, we know the controversy that it caused, the backlash that it caused for a lot of people, including former players. But he did set the tone for this. I mean, LeBron, other players have to look at the way he conducts business on and off the court and say, you know what? Even if I object to that, and remember, KD at the time objected. He sent out a tweet that just quietly talked about how he re-upped with a one-liner to stay in Oklahoma City for that time. But every player, understandably and probably wisely, has looked at LeBron and the way he conducts all of his business, including where to play. And so KD surveyed the landscape, David, and said, I need to be here if I want to have a chance to beat them. And so he had a change of heart about midway through his career, too.
All right, so last year, Durant now just 2 wins away from that first title. Last year at this time, Cavs were down 2-0. They go back home. LeBron called it a do-or-die game. They ran the Warriors out of the building, Michael. They won by 30. What do you expect to see tonight?
I expect to see the Cavaliers win. Now, let me say this. I expected your guys to win Game 2 as well. I did. I thought it was going to be a 1-1 series coming back here, David. Now, tonight, there's no option. You know, they have to win. And, you know, this is not the NHL, and it's not the 2004 Red Sox, and I don't see anybody coming back from 3-0 down. The Cavaliers have to play a lot better. We talked about why. I don't mean LeBron has to play better. LeBron's going to be LeBron. All indications are that he's been that already in this series. But he's got to bring those other guys with him, or they have to join him, however you want to put it. You know, it's interesting hearing all these things about adjustments and lineup changes. And would I put Kyle Korver in the lineup to start as opposed to J.R. Smith? Probably, because J.R. Smith's come off the bench a good portion of his career. He's comfortable doing that, but okay, they're not going to do that. The notion that the Cavaliers can just slow it down and slow dance their way into, no. They don't have that physical a team to play half-court basketball, to lean and push and shove. They play well when they play fast. They just got to do it better. So what I want to see from the Cavaliers is playing better, not differently, better. They're going to have to guard somebody, which they haven't done. They can't let those 3 Warriors get off like they did in Game 2. So these are the things, I mean, sometimes we forget now. We have all these metrics, we have all these numbers that tell us why stuff happened, but they don't necessarily forecast what needs to happen that night, the next game. And the Cavaliers have to play a hell of a lot better. I'm sure they know it. They've had 2 days to hear about how awful they are because they're down 0-2, even here at home. I expect them to play better. I expect them to win. I expect this to become a series tonight. I picked the Warriors in 7 to start this series because I didn't know who was going to win. To me, it's 2 even teams. But you know what? It's on your team tonight to prove it and not talk it. Guys, in a barbershop,
yeah.
And I know this barbershop's like the one that I grew up going to, you got to walk it, not talk it. It's time for the Cavaliers to walk it.
All right. Michael Wilbon, in a barbershop for the first time. What'd you say, 23 years it's been since you've been?
24. Haven't needed it. 23 years. 1994 was the last time I went in the shop. These guys told me I need to come in here and get this done anyway.
Michael Wilbon joining us. Getting us ready for Game 3 tonight in Cleveland.